This week on Jordan Jaunts, we share the total cost of our trip to Bulgaria.
But did we manage to stick to the budget? Morning.
Good morning.
You'll see behind us, we're back at home following our 3-week trip to Bulgaria. And in this video, we're going to share the costs that we spent. Will it be good news or bad news? Did we break the budget or did we manage to stick within it?
In this video, we will deep dive into the costs of our holiday in Bulgaria and hopefully we hit that budget.
So before we get started, James, a couple of things I want to tell people. First thing, just as a reminder to new viewers, we've got lots of new subscribers and just want to reintroduce ourselves. I'm Nicola.
And I'm James, and we are from Forres in Scotland.
And the second thing I want to say is that skiing and budget don't very often sit well together. So this is not a budget holiday that's being described here, and you'll hear more about that as we dive into the costs.
Definitely, Nicola. Skiing and budgeting is a difficult thing to do, but we believe we have done our absolute best to try and balance it off, because you can just get it wrong at so many angles in skiing. And as we go through, you hear some of the absolute fixed costs that you have absolutely no choice but to spend. Otherwise, there's no point in skiing.
Let's dive in.
So starting with travel, we started our journey from Edinburgh with Ryanair, flying into Sofia. We did spend some time in Sofia before heading to Bansko, and the cost of that flight was £121 each. Now that's including baggage and our skis, which I think was excellent value. And we did book that flight quite late, probably mid-December. And I know, speaking to a lot of people, they booked it a lot earlier and got it a lot cheaper. Transfer costs from Sofia to Bansko were £9 each, and that was on a public bus, which was very, very good value. But when you get to Bansko, you get dropped off at the bus station, which in a previous video you'll see was about 35 minutes plus from where we were staying if we were walking, and probably a 5-minute taxi ride. Now the taxi cost was £10, so you just really need to factor that in when you think about your total costs. Sometimes you think, well, actually it's great getting the local bus, but actually it's leaving me somewhere that's not the right location for us. We've never been to Bansko before, we didn't know where we were going, so hopping in a taxi was ideal, but it was still £10. You think about that short taxi ride for £10 when we were on a bus for 3.5 hours for £9, doesn't make a lot of sense. On the way back, we probably made a different choice, but the difference was we were heading straight to Sofia Airport, and for that was a private transfer, and that was fantastic value at £20 each, and that picked us up at 1:30 in the morning from our hotel straight to the airport in just over 2 hours.
It was all really good value, but I think if I was doing the trip again, I would miss out Sofia completely. Yep. And I would just go straight, get a private transfer the way we did on a return journey straight to Bansko and really just get into the skiing. That would be my choice.
Sofia was a beautiful city, it really was. So like us, if you've never been to Sofia before, you maybe choose the Sofia option first. And then in future, just head straight to Bansko, and that's our sort of thoughts. It was really good to see Sofia. In addition to the cost mentioned there, we live on the Moray coast in Forres in Scotland, which is a beautiful area of the country, and we hope to bring that to you in future videos, because that is certainly worth sharing and we love it here. So we decided to take the train from Forres to Edinburgh, which does put an additional cost in, and then you've got the tram, taxis, etc, etc. So it does put that extra cost onto the flight costs and the additional cost when you get there. So as a total, our travel was £441, and I think if you think, well, actually coming from the top of Scotland, heading to Bulgaria, to a main city, then getting to a ski resort, I think it's really, really good value. I think I was pleased with that. You pleased with that, Nicola?
Yeah, I think there are bits we certainly could have done cheaper. For example, that taxi. We overpaid certainly in a taxi from Sofia Airport into Sofia.
Yeah, absolutely right. Scammed in Sofia, we called it in a previous video, so certainly worth watching that one.
So our next cost is accommodation. We were away for 22 nights, so that adds up quite quickly when you're having to pay for accommodation there. We in total spent £1,081 on accommodation. Now that included 2 nights in a hotel, one at the Moxie at Edinburgh Airport, one in Sofia, and the rest of the accommodation we spent in an Airbnb in Bansko called the Dream Apartments, which were perfectly suitable for what we needed. They had a spa downstairs, they had a sauna. It was pretty nice and close to the gondola, so it meant when we were carrying skis we didn't have to go too far. Our accommodation costs were slightly offset because we had 2 vouchers. We had one voucher from hotels.com based on the number of stays we'd had over the previous year. And I had another voucher which was really nice from my colleagues at the Royal Society of Chemistry as my leaving gift. So they had given us a voucher towards that, which was really a great way to spend my first trip away after retiring.
I think good value. I've watched quite a lot of YouTubers and different people going to ski resorts, and I know the cost has been that for a week, never mind over 3 weeks. So I think really good value in Bansko for that.
In total though, that works out at an average of £49 a night, which is really great value. And it leads us on nicely, talking about that Airbnb, it leads us on really nicely to the next part where we're going to talk about food and drink, because the advantage of that Airbnb means that we were able to cook at home quite often.
I would consider myself a master chef now after that stunt. I made dinner most nights, didn't I? But I've really enjoyed it. Sometimes that can be quite bad for going on holiday and spending money, going out all the time, or always going out and not using my accommodation. That can be quite bad for that. And this time I was completely different. I had a different mindset.
I think you've hit the nail on the head with that when you're saying about a change in mindset. These aren't holidays so much anymore and more our life, and we can't afford to do it if we're going to spend as if we're getting another wage coming in at the end of the month. So we really have had to make adjustments based on our previous spending habits and think what our future spending habits are going to look like. And Bansko, even though it was quite expensive in the end, it was a great way for us to really start that.
It really was. And actually just become comfortable with your new life as we would be at home. So it's almost living your home life in another country. And I think that's a nice way to be, actually, after a good day skiing. So the supermarkets in Bansko were actually a bit of a surprise, to be fair. In the centre, I suppose at the ski resort of Bansko, it was quite expensive. We went to a company called Aldo, who, they're not a huge company in Bulgaria, but they have 30 plus stores and they're all based in tourist locations, mainly ski resorts and the Black Sea. And we found, when we did our first sort of small shop there, we thought, oh, prices here feel really expensive for some of the staples like pasta, milk, bread, coffee, fresh orange, to name a few. And it just didn't feel quite right. It felt, how can this be the case in Bulgaria? So I did a bit of searching on Google to find if there was anywhere else. And I'm not normally somebody that will get a backpack on and walk 20 minutes to a supermarket. I just wouldn't normally do it. But I wanted to investigate and find if that was typically the prices in Bulgaria. Now we've then moved on to a company called Buller, who are a German discount company, and they run a supermarket in Bansko, as I say, about a 20-minute walk away. And getting in there, that seemed more what I would be expecting Bulgarian prices to be. There was a value range, there was a premium range, there's products you would buy in the UK, the brands, they were quite similar price to the UK, but if you bought Bulgarian, you bought fresh, and you bought local produce, it just definitely, you could see the comparison, which is probably about 40% cheaper than the UK. Now if you wanted the same products, that's fine, you'll pay similar. Now looking at something that really did make me quite happy, because we talked about not going out as often, was beer. Beer was really reasonable in Bulgaria and really reasonable in Billa. So like a Moretti or like a local beer, whether a bottle or can, like a big one, under £1, which is amazing value compared to what we're paying, well over $2.50 at the moment. And a bottle of wine for most European countries was about £6 a bottle, so I suppose quite similar to here. But Bulgarian wine was really reasonable. That was about £3-4 a bottle, and that's actually really tasty. And I always like when I go to a different country to try out their wine. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but the Bulgarian wine was really tasty. And at that price, I thought that was cracking.
It was good.
Really cracking. So as a total, we spent £345 on supermarket shopping, and that was over a sort of 3-week period. We generally had a breakfast, we took some food up the mountain with us to keep the cost down, and we had a dinner in the evening, mostly in the Airbnb, which I think was good value, and I think it helped really well. We bought really good products, we ate really well, we felt really well.
I would agree. Bulgaria turned out to be a great start for our first trip, really healthy in that we were exercising for lots of hours every day, we were eating healthily, so we've bucked a trend in some ways, that we've come back from a trip and we've both lost a wee bit of weight, which is always a bonus.
So it wasn't all eating in the Airbnb. We still want to enjoy ourselves and want to go for some food, try out some of the Bulgarian restaurants, go out for beers, enjoy yourself, get into the après-ski, bit of the entertainment. And that was really affordable and really good fun. Some of the places we went to, the Happy End pub at the end of the ski slopes, that bit more expensive, £5 a beer, but it was worth it. They've got a small window of opportunity and they certainly milk it, but I don't blame them. If I owned that place, I'd milk it as well. So generally need cash and £5 a beer, but the place is jumping, it's happening, and you just feel you're just absolutely the energy is flowing in the place after a day skiing, so worth every penny. So typically most restaurants and bars in Bansko are £3 a pint or less, which is good value. Going out for a meal in Bansko would roughly cost you between £30-35, and that would be sharing a starter, a couple of main courses, and maybe getting a dessert between you, and a couple of beers, maybe a glass of wine. And again, I think that's really good value. I felt the food was really top notch. It was traditional, it was fresh, and it was really good quality. So I think for £35, I don't think I've ever spent £35 going out for a meal in Scotland in a long time. So great fun. The places were jumping, there was so many friendly people, and it was so worth getting out. It really was. And even if you just had a beer and then went and had your dinner in the apartment afterwards, you still felt as though you had an evening, or you went back and get some food and then back out again for a couple. That was good as well.
I would say that's what we did most often.
Yep.
Actually. We would have a ski, head back to the apartment, eat at home, and then go out for drinks, so that we could still get that real feel of the après-ski without the full cost of it.
But sometimes when you got yourself down the ski slope into the Happy End, start with the best intentions and then move on to a second beer, that maybe went down the drain a bit. I did see some nights we did step into a restaurant with our ski boots still on, but you know, we don't set things out with a plan in the morning. You just see how the day flows, and I think if generally that's what we stick to, then that's all good, because at the end you want to experience a place. So I don't want to end up talking about, oh, we had our food every night, we never saw Bansko. We did it all. We just had to make decisions that actually came into our budget and made sense for us. So as a total, we spent £522, and that was for all the drinks, alcoholic drinks, soft drinks, coffees, teas, and all our food when we went out. And that was including up the mountain, and the mountain is always going to be more expensive. And up the mountain, we went into a restaurant, 180 degree, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And that was beautiful. That was like a la carte dining. The food was incredible. Get a glass of wine each, which we don't normally do skiing. I prefer not to drink skiing. But we had a glass of wine, lovely afternoon, then went back out on the ski slopes, and that was like £45, but that was top notch. Whereas I think sometimes I go skiing in Scotland and that can be £25 for a couple of sausage rolls and a coffee, with a packet of crisps, you know, because that's the best options you get.
Talking about the skiing costs, now this is where it starts to get costly. Now, the prices in Bansko are reasonable. However, they are not that much less expensive than going to a resort in the Alps. So for a day pass, it works out at around £47. For a half day pass, it's £36. For an annual pass, it works out at around £804. So while that is cheaper than other European ski resorts, it's not 20% cheaper, it's just a bit cheaper. We decided to buy daily passes rather than that annual pass, and because we didn't want to be constrained for the 3 weeks, we didn't want to feel we had to ski every day, and that might have put pressure on us that we didn't want if we were tired or if we're making other decisions, enjoying other things. So we went with daily passes. Now James and I have our own skis, so we didn't need that, but when Hannah came over, we were hiring skis there. Really reasonable for ski hire in Bulgaria, only £12 per day, and we hired it actually just in the ski centre, so right underneath the gondola, which was excellent. We had a look around other places and they were all roughly the same, so we went for the one in the ski centre because it saved us carrying the skis, and it meant that Hannah could take her boots off, take her skis off, and just leave them at the ski centre ready for the next day. So that worked out really well. Now in total, including ski hire, ski passes, we spent £1,331. So it is a fair amount. If I was going again, I would buy the annual passes just to avoid the queues. There were queues that we had to wait on daily, and I think we would have had more enjoyment if we just had those passes, nipped on the gondola whenever we wanted and came off whenever we wanted, rather than feeling we were a bit constrained within their timings. If I go back again, I would get an annual pass.
I think we would get an annual pass. I think the reason being, normally after 3 weeks I'm ready to come home, and you're the same. 3 weeks were normally either move on or come home. And actually Bansko, I didn't want to come home. I felt as though I could have done another 3 weeks plus out there. So next time I'll definitely go longer and get that whole season pass, because you can use it in the summer as well. With that season,
I say
season
annual
pass. Yeah,
yeah.
you can use the annual pass in the summer as well. We did generally get the half day pass because you could ski from 12 o'clock, so you could go join the queue at 12 o'clock and you could go on just after that, and it was a lot quieter then. And then get yourself up till sort of 5 o'clock, so you're still getting 5 hours skiing, and that's plenty for me, and it does work out cheaper. But as Nicola said, you do still have to then queue up for your ticket, then queue up for the gondola, which does put that bit of extra pressure on. Whereas if you just bought the pass, that would just take that whole bit out and it would just be seamless skiing, and that would be amazing.
So as well as the skiing, we had other entertainment, and again, if you've watched our videos, you'll see that we went to the most amazing spa, and we've included this in our next cost. So for entertainment, we spent £214, which we felt was definitely good value. The spa was £25 for the afternoon, so that was 4 hours. And those 4 hours led into the evening, where it really was like a party in there in the evening. It was absolutely fantastic. So we had such a great time there, so do watch out for those videos.
So for a full day pass it was £32, and then you could go in from 9 o'clock in the morning right through till 10 o'clock at night, either after a day skiing or just something else to do in the evening. And by sort of 6 o'clock the place is jumping, it's party time, lasers on, great DJ, wow, amazing. But inside was just the most relaxing spa experience. The facilities were incredible. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen such options. And even if you want to catch one of the latest movies, there was a cinema inside as well, which was amazing as well. So you get in there and people's got robes on watching a film with a beer in hand. And in that note, if you were to eat in the spa, you could get a buffet in the spa, unlimited buffet for £20, including coffee, tea, soft drinks. So it is inexpensive. And if you want to get some tequilas like we did in the previous one, or get some beers, again, very inexpensive. It's still the same price as the resort at £3 for like a pint of beer. So the experience was amazing, and I would recommend anyone going to Bansko, get yourself to Banya and get yourself to the mineral thermal spa, because it is an amazing experience.
That's the categories that we've divided our money into. So there were flights, accommodation, food and drink, entertainment, and the ski costs. In total, you ready for this total?
Yep.
I don't know if you want to put your fingers in the ears or yeah, it is quite bad. But anyway, let's go. Drum roll. So in total, for 23 days and 22 nights, oh, Maisie's getting nervous about it too.
Yeah, Maisie's thinking, is she still getting fed today?
Yeah. So in total, for 22 nights and 23 days, we spent £3,741, which averages out at £163 per day, which is expensive, and we're going to have to think about that going forward. Not great that we've blown our budget on our very first month of retirement.
I've got to be honest, I'm quite relieved at that.
Now, are you?
Yeah, I think if you put it in a bit of context, if you think about ski pass, you're nearly £100 for ski pass for both of us, and then a bit more expensive when Hannah came out as well. So you think about that, and you think about accommodation, food, travel. I'm not saying it's cheap, but considering we were there, I think it's really good value. You never expect a skiing holiday to be cheap.
No.
It just isn't. And there's so many different costs. But I think that's really, really good. I think if we were comparing it to other ski resorts around Europe, around the world, I think you would not be able to get your flight, your transfers, your food, all that at the price you do in Bansko or Bulgaria.
I mean, I think it is what it is. We've spent that money, we had a fantastic time, and to be honest, I'm thinking it was worth it.
Yep.
So that's okay. But it's about what we do next, what we're doing going forward.
Absolutely. So looking at that number, we have to review our budget for the whole year. So we work a budget on a yearly number and then divide by 12. And if we overspend 1 month, we look to recoup it the next month. So our next trip is Torquay for a week on a bus trip, which looks good. Not quite sure if February's the right time of year to go to Torquay, but it should be fun, something we've not done before. And shortly after that, we are heading to Egypt, to Sharm el-Sheikh, and potentially up to Cairo, which should be a fantastic holiday. Looking forward to going there as well.
So if you want to see more of our videos, please remember to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference. And we will see you on the next few videos. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.